Hi everybody, I'm Fenichel. Welcome to another drum lesson. In this lesson we're going to be breaking down YYZ by Rush. The drummer is Neil Peart. Most of us know that if we're drummers. In fact, every drummer that I know at some point in his career has had some kind of love affair with Neil Peart's playing and his part writing. There's something about the way he writes a drum part, his cleanliness of execution, and the progression of how the part gets more advanced as the song progresses. It's just very cerebral and an amazing way of orchestrating a drum part. Very unique to Neil Peart the way he does that. Now his last name is pronounced Peart, not Peart. A lot of drummers say Neil Peart, and it's actually Peart. In any event, we're going to be breaking down YYZ, which is an instrumental. It's going to be all instruments, no vocals in this track. And I want to take apart 3 different grooves out of the song. In this lesson, the first part of the series, we're going to break down just the intro part. Now the intro part is typically written in 5/8 time. I like to feel it more in 5/4 time. That way I'm counting everything in a 16th note breakdown versus an 8th note breakdown. Let's go ahead and start with the ride cymbal pattern that exists in the beginning. It's 2 measures of 5/4 over that intro with just the bell. Now you notice he's got it panning back and forth, and he's using probably some kind of small micro bell or whatnot. We're just going to use the bell of the ride cymbal to keep it nice and simple. So let's go ahead and break down just the bell pattern in 16th notes against the metronome. Great. Now bear in mind I'm writing this in 5/4 time, so the way you're going to be counting this rhythm is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 and a 1. In fact, that's a great way to feel this groove, just trying to feel those kicks and the accents over the time. So let's do that again, just counting it out in 16th notes. It's going to be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a. Once you have that pattern worked out against the ride cymbal, essentially you're going to do that same pattern broken down across the drum set. Now the accents are going to fall across the snare drum and hi-hat. The bass drums are going to fill in somewhat. But an easy way to get the pattern is to think of it more along the lines of the way you think of a traditional clave in Afro-Cuban music. Now in Afro-Cuban music, say we're playing a 3/2 clave, it would be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. But we call that a 3/2 clave because there's 3 playing notes on the first measure, 2 playing notes on the second measure. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So if you understand the feel of the rhythm, you think of it as 3 accents against 2 accents. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Not the traditional way of counting it. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, which is of course more correct. But it just helps you remember and understand the pattern. So I want to bring that concept here and think of where the accents are. This way you don't get so bogged down in counting 1 E and a 2 E and a and get all lost in your count. I want you to think of the pattern as 1 to 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 to 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 hit, 3 hits, 4 hits. If you could memorize that feeling, you could start feeling the time as opposed to counting it. Now I recommend you practice both ways, because eventually you do want to count it so you know where you are, and you also want to feel it so you don't get lost in the pattern. Since it's an odd time 5/8 or 5/4 feeling, it's very easy to add an extra snare drum or take one away. But if you get used to that anchor feeling of 1 to 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1, it'll start giving you that sense of the loop that they're playing. All right, so let's go ahead and start breaking down this groove. First, let's hear the intro of this song up to tempo. Now the intro consists of actually 2 parts. There's the part on the hi-hat against the bass drum, and then it progresses over to the ride cymbal. So we're going to break down both of those grooves one at a time. Let's start first with the hi-hat and snare drum part at 60 on the metronome. Now that we have that pattern established, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're just going to fill the bass drum in those holes. So let's see what that sounds like at 60 on the metronome. At tempo. So now what you have to do is just practice that feeling, get the counting down with the bass drum in there and the snare drum and hi-hat, and try to feel that pattern through. The next step is bring it over to the ride cymbal. We're going to follow that same fundamental pattern, but we're going to spice it up a little bit. We'll take a look at that at our next lesson, and I'll see you then.